Hey anglers, Creaky Tiki here. Going to talk a little bit about handling your fish after the trip. Okay, you've been out in a party boat. It's a pretty good trip. You've gotten back, you're cleaned up, all your gear's packed in the car. All you got to do is get the fish out of the carts, haul them to the different numbers, get them to the processor, or get them packed up in your coolers and get going. I still see way too many anglers working way too hard, risking a back injury, and at the end up smelling like a fish factory before they start out on their way home. So here's a couple of thoughts on an easier and less stinky way to do that. For pulling on those fish, I've made myself a couple of long hand gaffs. They're about 3 feet long. Instead of just having pullin on the handle, I spiraled some cord and wrapped some cord along it to give me a good grip. Because you're not always pulling fish from the same height, and when you're dragging the fish, sometimes it's easier to have a hand further down the shaft than it is to just have them both on the upper part of the handle. It's got a gaff hook in it. This one happens to have a gaff safety spring on it. These springs are really convenient. They're stainless steel. They stay out of the way when you're using this gaff to lift or pull a fish, and it slides right back on and protects that hook when you're done. Really a slick setup. This is just an old piece of broken rod that I've turned into a gaff. You can buy a gaff pre-made, but if you do, I still suggest thinking about putting some spiral cord down the shaft of that gaff to give you better grip for pulling and hauling on those fish. This is a broken rod, beautiful rod in its time. I just spiraled some cord around it, wrapped the cord around it, put some finish on it, and away you go. If you have a rod wrap machine, you can use rod finish. If you don't, you can get some fast dry epoxy, brush it on, and just kind of keep spinning that thing until that epoxy goes off. Now there also are some hand gaffs out there, and those are helpful, but if you're hauling those fish way down the dock or way down that sidewalk at the landing to get them to the right number, I find that short gaff isn't nearly as convenient as the long gaff. Now for years I was using the disposable rubber gloves, and they work okay, but they're not too durable. And I saw another angler using these, what they call chemical gloves. They're rubberized chemical gloves. They protect your hands from all the slime and smell of the fish. I've used these on multiple trips. They've hauled a lot of fish, and they're still in really good shape. When you get home, you can wash these, hang them, and they're good to go on the next trip. So get some nice rubberized chemical gloves, chemical resistant gloves. Buy a pre-made gaff or make one yourself. Head to the local tackle shop. See if they got a nice rod that's broken they're going to toss out. Save your back. Use the gaff. Haul those fish. Get them home safely. Get yourself home without any injuries. This is Creaky, Tight Lines. Till next time, wishing you good fishing.